Hi everyone, I can see that we are live. I hope that you can hear me well. Welcome to the community stream number 145. If I have read correctly the title that I typed in earlier, so I guess that's correct. Yeah, as always, please let me know if everything is working fine sound wise, if you can hear me well, and if that's the case, we'll be starting. For the time being, just gonna check with the chat if you guys can confirm to me that it's working fine, and if that's the case, we'll be starting. Sorry, I was hearing some sound in the background. I hope you were not hearing me in with this weird delay or repetition as well. It seems like one of the tabs that I had was not fully stopped sound-wise, so I hope that you had no issue with that so far, and I hope you can hear me well. I see that Tsa is here, outsider. Yeah, welcome to the stream. We're just gonna take a second, a minute, just as usual, making sure that everyone has the opportunity to join, and if everything works well, then we'll be able to get going with the community stream, with the fight night. Today we'll have quite a few different topics that I want to cover and discuss with you guys. So yeah, it will be quite an interesting one, because the first topic we'll cover is one that you will probably be quite interested in, because that's okay. Again, I have this weird background noise. There we go. But the good news is that at least I know that you can hear me well, because I was able to hear myself via the tab that was open with the video in. So again, I hope that was not disturbing for you guys, and we'll be able to start. If you need me to put the volume of my voice lower, higher, whatever that is, as always, just let me know and we'll look into that. For the time being, let's basically start with our fight night, shall we? So as always, we're starting with the, well, not as always, but this time around we're starting with the easy mode. The reason for this is that we don't have that many players in this session. Today we'll be starting with Peanutter, then we'll have Aurelius, and the reason why we are starting with this today is because once they're done, we'll pretty much be having a sneak peek at the global red boss. So let me take the opportunity to share some news with you as to what you can expect from the global red boss, because since the last time we spoke, I had the opportunity to play the global red boss. I had the opportunity to see not only the prototype, but just an hour ago I was able to see the last version of it, which is including pretty much the final UI, so the user interface for the event. Pretty much at this point everything is ready for the beta version, which means it's coming pretty soon. What we're aiming at the moment is end of next week. It might be the following week, because we might need to have an update for you guys to be able to play that mode, but that's pretty much what we're looking at. That's pretty exciting. We've never been any closer to the release, and it's a big feature, so it's quite interesting for us as well. It's quite challenging, and we're very excited, and we can't wait to see how you guys react to this boss, the global red boss. So for those of you that might be watching the stream either live or in replay and don't really know what the global red boss is, again, a small reminder: it's a new event pretty similar to the red bosses you're used to, but with a couple of twists. First of all, it's not based on your clan, so everyone within the community is gonna fight the same exact boss and trying to take down all the arts from that boss. And when that's done, everyone will get a reward. The basic reward you get, if you're not in the leaderboards, etc., is gonna be better if collectively we were able to fully defeat the global red boss. In case we don't fully defeat the red boss, you will still get something. In order to get some rewards, you will need to at least attempt to defeat the boss once, which makes sense. And then you will have the opportunity to climb 2 different leaderboards to start with. On the long run, there might be another one added. For now, you have 1 leaderboard for the damages dealt to the red boss, and 1 for the number of attempts that you tried. The main reason for us having those 2 is so that someone that wants to spend a lot of keys but is not yet one of the top players of the game can still benefit from going for a lot of attempts, which would have not been the case if the only leaderboard was based on the damage dealt. Also because a top player will need a lot less attempts in order to deal a ton of damages. So this way we kind of offer for the players that would like to an option to still be in the rankings even though they are not the top players yet. So that's why there are those 2 ranking systems. If you're not in the top 100, which are the 2 ones that we will show in the leaderboards, the 2 different listings, you will still see your rank and you will still see the rewards you're getting, which pretty much will be the participation rewards, let's say. The other differences with the usual red boss would be that with this global red boss, the red boss has phases, which means let's imagine that the boss has, I don't know, 10,000 arts that you guys need to take down as a community. Maybe after 3,000 arts, the boss will change. Different patterns, different attacks, different stats, different bonuses, etc. And then after 5,000 arts have been taken out, it will change again. For now, the boss is designed to have 3 different phases, which means when the event is running, it doesn't get too monotonous for the time that it's running. Other specificity with this boss is that it has power stones equipped to it. And those power stones will change with the phases, which really should make for the phases to be something very interesting to look at and to take part in. That's the selling point. In terms of differences with your usual red bosses, there's also the fact that since you're not fighting within the clan, or it's rather an individual event for the time being, then obviously the star system that you're used to for the difficulty of the boss wouldn't really make sense. So what we have instead is that it will be an individual leveling, meaning that you as an individual player will increase the difficulty of the boss with each and every time that you are actually defeating the boss. So that will be a difference. And of course, with each difficulty layer, the boss that you're facing will be stronger and have more HP, bigger health bar if you want. So that's the main things that make it different from your usual red boss. For now, we are looking at the beta version. The beta version, what it means is mostly that the first version that will run will not be attractive to you guys in terms of rewards. It will not have actually all the leaderboards rewards. It will only have the global participation rewards. The reason for this is that we do not want people to be starting to compete within the event when it's still not final. And why is it not final? Because the balancing is not there yet. For now, we mostly want you guys to have a chance to test the mechanics, to let us know if it works, if you encountered any issues, etc. There will probably be some hiccups because that's the first time it's running, and that's why we want to emphasize that this is a beta version. It will be shown and displayed within the game as well as being a beta version. So how will that work? Well, once the beta event goes live, it will be live for most likely 48 hours. On the longer run, maybe the event will be a bit longer, maybe it will be shorter. It's not yet fully defined, but for the test, it will be 48 hours. During those 48 hours, you will have a new event icon on the marketplace where you can see other events like skirmish, the bounty hunter, etc. And there you will see a new character, a new NPC that basically says Global Red Boss. When you click on it, you will be able to access the Global Red Boss and set up your army for the fights. Just as usual for any bosses, it's gonna be using up keys. For the beta release, we'll probably be granting you guys some extra keys so that you know you're not wasting anything by participating in the beta. And outside of that, it's gonna be pretty straightforward. You will see the boss. You will be able to see how many arts are still in there. You will be able to see the level at which it is for you personally. It will start at 0 and it will level up, I think, up to 10. You will be able to see the rankings. In the rankings, you will be able to see the different rewards that you can get, etc. For the time being, as I was saying earlier, there will be only the global reward for everyone that will be given out. Once the event is not in beta anymore, you will actually get different rewards in the rankings. I can tell you that by the look of it for now, that would be like a specific reward for reaching top 1, top 2, top 3. There's one for 4 and 5, then 5 to 10, then it goes from 10 to 25, 25 to 50, and 50 to 100. That's what I recall roughly. Same goes for the damages and for the number of attempts, which means a player that is doing super great in the event will get 2 sets of rewards. One for being super high in the damages leaderboard and one for being super high in the attempts leaderboard, for example. And if you are in these categories, you're not going to get the global reward, because the global reward is pretty much what goes to everyone that has participated but is not in the top 100. So that's why you wouldn't get it on top. What else can I tell you about the Global Red Boss? It's a brand new design, so we created a new boss. I already teased it a little, but slightly later on you will be able to have another tease at it. You will see, because I think it's gonna be in just, we have like not even 10 players left, and then I will go and show you what this boss actually looks like. The truth is, I do not want to spoil too much. So I took a video from the editor, the development tool that the devs are using in order to see how it looks in game when they're doing something. This video is going to have some hidden elements in it because I don't want to spoil the surprise of how the boss actually looks like. But if you are paying attention, you will be able to get some hints, well, quite big ones actually, if you pay attention. The other thing to know is that, as I was saying earlier, this was done on the last prototype version, just earlier today I was able to see the final one, but I did not have the time to make a video out of this one yet. So this one will come as a surprise. This means that in the video you will see some elements of the UI are not final, just for you to keep in mind. What else can I tell you about the global red boss that you didn't know yet? I think that's mostly it, to be honest. It's gonna be mostly an individual event and a collective event, because it's an individual event because you have leaderboards that you want to climb into, and it's gonna be a collective event because if we collectively end up completely defeating all the arts of the boss, then the rewards that everyone are getting will be a bit better. So we all have an interest in participating, even for those that are not gonna go to the top layers, pretty much, to the top of the rankings, etc. On the longer run, there are many things we'd like to do with this event. One of which, and probably the biggest one, is to be able to have a clan leaderboard added. The clan leaderboard would not be like your red leaderboards where it's within your clan. The clan leaderboard I'm referring to would be a leaderboard of the different clans. And that would be done by just putting together the elements from the other leaderboards. But that requires a bit of work, and we decided we first wanted to have the events working. Once everything is running fine, once we have a frequency for it, once everything is smooth, then we can have the actual boss running. And that's pretty much what we plan for the time being. Outside of this, what we will also be looking at, sorry, I'm just checking that. I think we're done already. I'm just gonna wait for the next fight to start, but I think we're done already for the easy fight night, but that's okay. So yeah, a couple of things to also keep in mind. Yeah, we are done, so let me stop on that. Okay. Yeah, sorry, so I've been starting this sentence a few times already. That's a bit weird, but pretty much the other thing to consider for the global red boss is that it will work like other events, meaning not everyone will be able to take part because you will need to be already rank 7 in order to do so. Why rank 7? It's pretty simple. The main reasoning here is that you need to be done with the clan tutorial, which is at rank 6. The reasons for this is that until you're done with this, you cannot collect red boss keys, and you will need red boss keys for the global red boss, so there's no way around it. And why not give you the access at rank 6 but at rank 7? It's simply because it makes sense from the player's progression through the game that you first get introduced to the red boss via the clans, and then you can get introduced to the global red boss. That being said, since it's an individual event, you will not be requested to be part of a clan in order to participate in the global red boss. Once there will be a leaderboard for clans, obviously that means you will not be part of it if you're alone and out of a clan, but you will still be able to participate, get your rewards for the other leaderboards, etc. Okay, let me set up everything for the other fight night. Pretty much just switching accounts here and we'll be able to go. Just a second. And yes, I know I did not forget that I'm supposed to show you something before we get in. I just want to get everything prepared before we jump into that. So just a second. We should be good. Okay, so for the time being, we have something else to look at. So, are you guys ready? Because I don't see much action in the chat. So actually, I need the chat to tell me, are you guys ready to see something a bit exciting? Oh, I see that Matt Remar is joining just on time. We were actually going to show you a teaser for the Global Red Boss. This comes from the development editor, so it's not the final UI, as I was saying. I just had the opportunity to try on the final UI just an hour before the stream, so I did not have the time to make a video out of this. But also, anyway, we want to keep some surprises for you guys. So this is what I could get you. Keep in mind, there will be no massive spoiler because we still want you to be surprised by the boss design in itself, but that should give you an idea. So this, my friends, is a short video that I hope you will enjoy. I didn't put the sound in, but that's basically the music of the game, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. So let's see if everything is working fine there. And I think it is. Let's go. Oh wow, what is that? Okay, that's hiding a big chunk of the screen. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't want to spoil the entire thing, but if you are paying attention, you might be seeing some stuffs here and there that can be pretty exciting. I see some wings, I see some heads, I see some tails, I see a duplicate unit. I see some profile, portraits for the boss. I see a name. I see a lot of things that could actually be and should be telling you a bit what's going on. So what you see is in here is the regular fight, but what you can see on the bar for the boss description, you can see that it has 3 icons below his name, which represents the different power stones that would be active right now, because as I was saying earlier, the Global Red Boss has power stones. Right now there are 3 of them active. That wouldn't really be the case in the live session unless we are already in the final phase, for example. You can see that there's a 1 for the number of hearts that are needed in order to fully defeat the Global Red Boss. Wouldn't be the case again on the live environment. And you can see that there's a 1 at the other end where you would usually have your star level. This is your individual level, so that means my account, or actually the test account that is used right now, as the Global Red Boss on level 1 difficulty. After defeating it, it would go to level 2, 3, etc. up until 10, I think, if I remember correctly. So that's giving you a rough estimation of what we're looking at. Everything else is pretty similar to what you're knowing. The UI here, as I was saying, is not final, so that's why it's really stripped down and not necessarily that engaging. It will look better. I ran the video twice because I wanted you to have a chance to look at things. You can see here how the leaderboards would look. Everything else, the final UI, all the details, I'm not able to share with you right away. You will have to wait a little before you can see that. So yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to share for now. I don't know if you guys have any questions about this. If you do, we'll be able to take them. But for now, we will also be starting with the normal / advanced / hardcore fight night. The first player is Pataglu. I'm saying it in French because I think it sounds fun, but that might be Pataglu. I don't know. We have Praetor, we have Xavier Domsul, we have Shiver, we have Saint John that are coming in the first players. For the first players, the event is live, the auto spin is on, so we should be able to get going. And that's correct, we have Pataglu first, as expected. Matt Romario asking if the icons in the lower part of the boss name plate had anything to do with phases. No. There are indeed 3 different phases. It was not indicated here. As far as I'm aware, the way you will know in which phase the boss is will mostly be indicated by the power stones, because right now you could see 3 power stones. The power stone combination will be changing with every new phase. For the time being, with this boss, there are 3 phases, and this means basically that this is how you will know that a new phase is in. It's by looking at the power stones. There might be another indication when you're still preparing your army, but not yet in the fight. But that's a good question. I will also ask the team if there's another place where you can see this, because I don't recall seeing it directly mentioned in the test I've done earlier today. But see, that's the kind of things we want to test with the beta. It's things that might not seem obvious for players when they're playing it. So we'll see. But indeed, there are 3 phases. You will know by the power stones. Ideally, there should be also an indicator. I think the reason why there's no indicator so far is that on the longer run, there might be more than 3 phases. There might be, a boss with 5, 6, 10 different phases, depending on, if the concept catches on, and if we create more and more different global red bosses to rotate them and have different options, etc. We might end up having way more phases, and so we mostly want players to focus on what is being displayed at the moment, rather than just knowing what number of phase it would be, or there would need to be an indicator that says 2 out of 5, for example, or something like this. I don't know yet. I need to recheck indeed if it's mentioned anywhere. In the test, what you could see there was only related to the development tool being used, as this is what was shown in there. Okay, guys, do you have any other question related to the global red boss? Were you guys able to figure out a bit more about the design of the red boss, of the global red boss? Because, I mean, the portrait was here. The name was a good giveaway as well. Matt Romario asking if we have a release date. The ETA, so the tentative deadline at the moment that we're looking at, would be end of next week for the beta version. Just to be clear again, this beta version, the main difference is that there will only be one reward, global reward, that goes for everyone, and that's because we don't want players to start competing in the leaderboards and go crazy while the event is still in beta phase, right? I mean, if you want to use 100 keys because you have hundreds and hundreds at your disposal, fine, it's your account, you do whatever you do, but we don't want people to feel like they should do that because the rewards would be super great or whatever, when there might still be some technical issues and such, and that's why the first version will not have crazy rewards. It will be fairly basic. The other reason being that the balancing is not what we focused on yet. So I'm quite sure the balancing of the first version will be way off, either way too difficult for the entire community to take down all of the arts, or way too easy. But that's also what the beta will help us figure out. Welcome, Yosef. What is lost? You've lost, you missed everything. because you missed everything about the global red boss already. If I were you, I would just go look back 5 minutes in time right now to get a small teaser of what's to come. I'm a bit sorry for the trolling and the big animation I had to put in the screen, but that's basically because I don't want to spoil the entire design of the boss before it goes out. So yeah, that's mostly the reason. But again, as I was saying earlier, I think if you looked at the name, if you looked at the portrait, and if you looked at the duplicate of this unity, of this boss that was as a unit on the other side, you probably guessed the direction we went with. So yeah, that's mostly what we discussed so far. We didn't discuss yet the new Battle Knights. That's actually the other topic I wanted to jump on, so we'll now have the opportunity to do precisely just that. So what is this other fight night we're talking about? What's this whole thing? Well, to put it simply, I will start by saying that with Godspeed Games, we always believed that the community interactions that we run are based on what the players want and what is best use of our time and what makes the community stronger together, what helps you guys build connections, etc. And that's why when we started taking care of the fight nights, we changed it. We tried different things, mostly because we wanted to make sure that we had a format that would work for you guys. That's why we started to have the recorded fight nights so that we could add more players on without having streams that would be 2 hours long, etc. In the back of our heads, it's always been this idea that in an ideal world, we would like players to run the fight nights, because we believe, at least I believe, that you would learn way more in terms of strategy of the game, in terms of how to best defeat your opponent, and you would have way more excitement by fighting with each others than fighting with us, and especially with me, because let's be honest, I suck at building super strong armies and keeping up with all the strategies, etc. So the reason why I'm building up this whole context is because we were contacted just a few weeks back, or maybe 2 weeks or something like this now ago, by our one and only Matt Remar from the chat, and he came up to us with this idea of, hey, I have a good concept for the fight nights, and it, from my perspective, I'm gonna tell how things looked. Of course, Matt Remar has a slightly different version of it, because of course that's gonna be for him to tell how it went. But for me, the way it went is I started to read through the rough explanation that he gave to us, and it made perfect sense. I was like, yes. Is it more entertaining for players? Yes. Is it a better use of the resources that we have for the game? Yes. Is it gonna make the community stronger? Is it gonna enhance competition but also enhance community spirit? Yes. Is it gonna be 10 times better in terms of entertainment than what I can deliver? 10 times yes. So as I was reading the explanations, I was like, yeah, of course we want to support that. And then Matt Remar went into an actual stream to showcase what he had in mind, and he cleared up most of our questions. I had the good role in this because I just had to show up in the chat and say, yes, we're gonna give you this, we're gonna give you that, And that was super, I felt like Santa Claus. I was like, I'm just gonna give you everything you need. So now that might get some of you excited, like what are we talking about? So first of all, I'm not gonna refer to it as the Fight Night, but as the Tavern Brawl, because that's the name that Matt Remar came up with. He's gonna be able to explain that in way better words when the first versions will come in. But here's the takeaway that I got from this. It's a reverse Fight Night. What it means is, instead of me setting up a not so good army for you to fight, or a super strong army that a player suggested to me, and everyone registers to fight me, what will happen is that you will set your army up and you will challenge Matrema. You will register and say, hey, come fight my army. Matrema will take the list of players. He will take a certain number of players per stream, because as you can see, it will be a bit more complicated than the regular Fight Night. And what will happen is that when he will take your name, he will friendly fight you, and he will decide, based on what he's seeing from your army, if he's able to defeat you with an account with only units level 50, if he can defeat you with an account with only units level 100 or units level 150, with different level of artifacts, etc. I will leave him share all the details as the first sessions will go, but that's roughly the idea. And so the concept is that he will bet that he can defeat you with one of the 3 accounts I mentioned. Now, if he's successful at defeating you, you still get rewards. And if he had to defeat you with the army level 100, you get better rewards than if he only had to use the level 50. And same for level 150. But let's say that he fails with his bet. So he said, I'm gonna defeat you with an army level 100, and he fails to do it, then your reward is even greater. So now that becomes a real challenge between a very knowledgeable player and everyone else in the community. The good thing is, because Matrema will have to take a bit of time for each account, analyze what's going on, set up his strategy, and because he's gonna do that live, he's gonna give you a lot of hints. He's gonna explain a lot of the strategy about the game. He's gonna explain to you, hey, okay, so what I spotted is that you're using this and that army and that unit, sorry. So my counter to your army will be to use that and that and that unit. I need to use this and this and this artifact, this and this and these power stones. And I bet if I'm using this strategy, I can do that with units level 100 or units level 50. And then the fight goes. At the moment, it's still unclear, correct me if I'm wrong, Matrema, but it's still unclear whether there will be a time limit of how long he can spend for each account, or if it's gonna run based on how many tries he would get, or there's some stuff that needs to be tried on, and based on the first tests, it will go in one direction or the other. The main difference for you is that you will just basically use your strongest army, so you don't need to change your army anymore for the stream. You will know, again, that before the stream, you will know if you're part of the stream. That's similar to what we're doing with the Fight Nights. Matrema will tell you, hey, okay, here's the list for today's stream. And the difference would be that Matrema would be running more streams. So instead of one stream every 2 weeks, he might be running 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 streams a week, sorry. He will be the one deciding of the frequency, obviously, but he will be having more streams running. And the reason for this is because he will be able to fight less players, obviously, than I am. But the goal is that roughly the same amount of players should be able to fight within the 2 weeks time that we usually have from one fight night to the other. The second goal, which is something is very close to my heart and mostly something I care about for the interest of the game, is that these challenges will mostly make sense for people that put some thoughts into building up their army. So you should see a lot less people that are just putting their name on a form every time it goes out, don't watch the stream, don't watch anything, don't care, just want to grab some rewards. In this case, you can do this, but it's not going to be quite as rewarding. And also, Matt Remar said that, and I think it's a great idea, in order to get things going, what will happen is that it would open a form for subscriptions or registration, and then it would circle through the names, meaning that if you are part of the first stream, then if there are 200 people that registered, you will need to wait until those 200 people are done before you come back in, which also means there will be a bit of fairness to how often can people be part of this. So that's roughly the concept. And what we decided to do with Godspeed Game is to fully support Matt Remar with this, meaning we offered him dev accounts, so accounts that are flagged as dev accounts so that they cannot be appearing in any of the rankings in the game. They're not going to be disturbing. You won't be facing them in your basic spins, etc. They will only be there during the live or if you friendly fight him, just like the account that I'm using right here. We helped him, have enough shards, enough gold, enough artifacts, fragments, anything he needed so that the accounts could go in. I even manually granted those accounts all the skins. Well, not fully manually, but that took a lot of time. So he should have all the skins to display. Of course, just so that some people, so that no one feels like we're giving a crazy advantage or whatever. As I mentioned before, those accounts cannot participate in any event. They cannot be in the regular matchmaking, so there's no real advantage. And since they're flagged as dev accounts, we can anyway know exactly what Matt Remar is doing. So, there's no real advantage for it, except for having the opportunity to run such a program. What will happen? Matt Remar is completely right. Obviously, he can friendly fight you because that's how the event will run. You can also friendly fight those accounts, but that won't make sense because since his army will change with every single opponent, it wouldn't really give you any hints, right? The main concepts for us, the main way we could participate was by granting rewards. So what will happen is that when the event will be running, the rewarding will be somewhat similar to what you know from the regular fight night, and we are going to support him. If it's still the plan, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt Remar, but I think you wanted to start next week already with this. What we'll do is support him by granting those rewards and getting things to run. We'll mostly be present in the chat, looking how things are running within the first few iterations. We will definitely promote this content on our social media, on Discord, and anywhere we can, because we believe that this kind of initiatives coming from a player are way better for the community ultimately. And if anyone wants to do another thing like this, we would be perfectly fine with having something like this supported as well. Of course, we'll always keep an eye on the amount of gems that are given out in total, because of course, if let's say, you know, there's now 20 of you running such programs, that would be a problem, because, you know, players could get 20 times the amount of gems they're getting right now. That would be a problem. But as long as there's nothing crazy in that regards, that's perfectly fine. We could also alternate and say, hey, you know, this month we are supporting this player, next month it will be X or Y. We'll see. You know, if someone else is interested in running something like this, you will just have to come to us and we'll discuss what could happen for sure. Yeah, as Matt Remar was saying, is willing to take turns. I would assume once Matt Remar has been doing that for a while, he might anyway want to take some breaks from time to time, or to have someone else jumping in. So there's definitely some room for this. And now, what does it mean for the global fight night? For now, nothing changes. Nothing changes. We'll still run the regular fight night. But what we will probably do is that the next fight night will not be in 2 weeks, but probably in 3 weeks, leaving 2 full weeks for Matt Remar to try on his concept. And pretty much the idea is that we'll leave 1 full cycle of 2 weeks for Matt Remar to try on and see how it goes. And then when we see if it's going, we see how many gems we had to distribute, etc., we'll decide if we keep the fight night running the way it was or in a different way. What is important is that even if we decided not to do the traditional fight nights anymore, that wouldn't prevent us from having live sessions more as a Q&A kind of thing. Whenever there's something like the global red boss coming in, it might allow me to actually focus a bit more on in-game news, especially now that we start to move a bit faster with finally some features coming in. So yeah, I guess that's an overall good description of what's gonna happen in the coming weeks. As a recap, for the next 2 weeks, or 3 if you start from today, we'll be supporting Matt Remar's initiative with the Tavern Brawl, and we'll see how things go. We'll be supporting him with whatever he needs. We'll be checking in. We'll be probably there in the chat anyway, checking how things are going during those lives. And after an entire cycle, we'll have the regular fight night again, and we'll see from there if there's any new development. You know, maybe Matt Remar will tell us, hey man, I'm sorry, I cannot take care of those guys for 45 minutes 3 times a week. I don't know, it depends on how you guys will behave with him. If you're nice, and as you've been with me for all this time, I guess there won't be any problem with this. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on how things are running, and in the meantime, anywhere we can support this initiative, we will. And again, if you have other ideas like this, just let us know. In general, we're always in favor of supporting such initiatives. We believe that given that this game existed before us and has been running for a long time, you guys have way more expertise that we will ever have, and this means you are most of the time better suited than us to run such initiatives. So if you guys want to run community initiatives, if you have ideas of contests or stuff, we're always there to support that. If you have any ideas, come to me, we can discuss it. I think now that Matt Remar can confirm that, you know, we'll do what we can to help you out, as long as, of course, we are not granting you any unfair advantage compared to any other players. That's obviously our limit. We don't want you to have any unfair advantage, but I guess that's pretty logical, and I don't think any of you would expect us, to grant any unfair advantage to anyone. So yeah, I think that covers it mostly. Yeah, I did dump hundreds of millions of gold for the 150 level. Yeah, level 150 account, because obviously if you need to update all of the units to level 150, yeah, it takes a lot of gold, that's for sure. I mean, look at this account that I'm playing on right now. I think you've all seen it when the fight night starts or ends. This account has gazillions of gold. Actually, there's even one point where I had to lower the amount of gold we had on this account because it was breaking the UI of this. So yeah, it's the kind of thing we can do to support you. On the other hand, you should also feel bad for Matremar, because he was telling me about this earlier, and it's very true. He will have to level all of those units still by hand, which is taking quite some time. But most importantly, he has to be careful, because if he wants to stop at level 100 precisely, and if he's just tapping and waiting and not paying too much attention, if he goes to 102, he cannot turn it back, right? So yeah, he's gonna have to be pretty focused on those kind of things for the upcoming week. Yeah, send all your prayers, all your good words to Matt Remar, as he's gonna be spending way too long with his finger pressed on the screen for the coming days. Okay, guys, do you have any questions about this brand new Tavern Brawl concept? I think, to be honest, that between the Tavern Brawl and the Global Red Boss coming, we are up for a great couple of weeks, right? You might need some band-aids. Yeah, I would imagine that. I would imagine that. Let me check where we are in terms of players right now. 42 out of the 70. Yeah, we are already quite advanced for this hardcore fight night. As always, the rest of you, if you did not see your name on the list for today, you will be part of the recorded fight night, which will take place tomorrow. It would help to be potentially setting up a fourth slot for this. I mean, don't get me wrong, Yosef, but I'm feeling like you're mostly trying to push for having a fourth slot in general rather than for this mod in particular, because I don't quite see what the difference would be for Matt Remar in this specific case, because if you're one of the players that wants to be challenged by Matt Remar, you're just gonna be setting your main army as the one he will have to check. So that doesn't really change anything how many slots you have. For him, what he needs mostly is, if he had 10 slots, he would have 10 basic armies set up that he could travel through. But anyway, with each player, he's gonna need to slightly adapt it, and that's the point, right? It's gonna take 3, 4, 5 minutes per account, precisely to test it. So I'm not sure that having just a fourth one would really change the outcome. That being said, we all agree having a fourth one would be something. We change main armies with the 3, 4 slot could be a fixed one. Yeah, but that doesn't change anything, because in order for him to see it when he's friendly fighting you, it needs to be the army that you're using right now, if I'm correct, right? Because you don't pick which of the slots from your opponent you're going to see. So that, I mean, I get it that it would give you one more template to set up an army, but it still doesn't change that you would need that army to be set up at one point. And ultimately, what I was gonna say is that yes, a fourth slot would be interesting in general. I just don't think that this specific scenario is changing anything. It's just, yes, a fourth slot would be nice in general. Yeah. Players can hide their armies right up until the. Oh, okay, yeah, you mean so. I mean, yeah, but I mean, that's true, Matt Remar, that they could hide their armies via a fourth slot, and basically they just indeed need to make sure they are locked in, or that, yeah, that they have it up when the stream is starting. But technically, that would be true as well with the second or the third slot. I'm not saying that a fourth slot wouldn't help. It's just that I think a fourth slot would help in general, and that there are tons of reasons for which it would be way better than just for this application. And in general, it's something you guys have already been asking quite a fair bit, especially for the red bosses, but not only. And we agree the main thing for now is that we need to evaluate the overall load of the app after we implement the new event, etc. Because the main issue I could foresee is we need to change some elements of the UI. That's not a big deal to display the fourth slot, but we need mostly to make sure that the memory is not going to increase too much. I don't see any reasons why we wouldn't do a fourth slot. It's just that at the moment it does not have the same priority as, let's say, the global red boss. But it's something that we all agree would be nice to have, for sure. Okay, so yeah, next question is for Matt Remar, so I will let him directly take care of that in the chat. Let me check where we are. I'm always keeping an eye because I want to make sure we don't go over time. Last time, the last fight night, I think we had like 4 or 5 accounts after the ending. Usually I have 1 or 2, which is okay. But I think, yeah, the last time we had like 4 or 5 because I was not paying attention at all to the list. So today I made a note to myself to make sure we keep an eye on that. Okay, what else can I tell you out of the other stuff that are coming soon? We already mentioned quite a fair bit the last time that there will be new ad placement coming in, so basically allowing you guys to get rewards for watching ads in different places, so that is still coming. We also have a few different small features we're looking at. When I say small features, it mostly means something that is not as big as the global red boss, but yeah, we're looking for a few things. One of them being the option to use specific currencies to double your rewards for a certain amount of time. So that, and that means also, you know, that would increase the gold limit if you're using it, or this kind of thing. So that's something we're looking at, you know, like a boost system that you can trigger. The reason why we're looking at this is because we could use that as a reward in some of the events, but also because it's a feature that exists in a lot of games, and it will make the progression for newcomers a bit faster. It will allow them, by using those at crunch time, to go a bit faster. Of course, for us, it's also a feature that can further drive the economy of the game. So that's one thing we're looking at, because that's a small thing to do. There are a few different things coming in, but ultimately we are making sure that the global red boss is going to be released working smoothly. We also have the Unity updates finally coming in. At the moment, we need the global red boss version to be out and available in the app stores before we can release the one with the Unity updates. We couldn't have them in the same release because it was too risky to have two such big features, and we wanted to have the red boss one ready earlier, because then we make sure that the one that we release with the Unity will be compatible with the red boss. If we went the other way around, we might have needed another Unity update right after because of the red boss, which would have not made sense. So that's why we're checking that. Okay, so I see that Matt Remar is answering quite a few questions in there. In general, if you have questions about this, so the Tavern Brawl, which is the reverse fight night that Matt Remar is working on and that we are supporting with the company, of course you can go and ask Matt Remar either right now in the chat or later on via Discord, etc. But you can also, and that's what I would encourage a lot of players to do, register when the registration form will be out and just watch the first live. You know, even if you don't have the strongest army or whatever, just put your name in, watch the first lives, and it will be a lot easier for you to understand how it works when you see it than just by my description or by the text that has been shared. Yeah. Also, I would like to point out that the rewards for the Tavern Brawl will not be distributed in the same way as the Fight Night one, because it's not an automated process. So that will probably mean rewards would come the next day or something like this. Or if a stream happens over the weekend, you might need to wait the Monday before the rewards get distributed to your account. That's just something to clarify so that there's no wrong expectations there. But basically we will need to have the list and verify how it went before we can grant it. So that's why it will probably happen this way. Yeah, one point that Matt Remar is making, which is pretty important, is that if someone is trying to fake their way in this fight, he basically will not fight them, or they will lose the gems they could get. What we mean by faking their way is mostly saying, hey, here's my army, Matt Remar is setting up everything, and because it's live, at the moment he would start the fight, the player just changes his army, and therefore Matt Remar gets beaten, not because he didn't do the proper strategy, but because the player swapped armies at the last moment. If a player is doing that, they won't get the rewards. And I would say if too many players are doing that, probably Matt Remar will have to exclude them from the system at one point, if that was to become too much. But I don't think anyone would be doing that, because ultimately you would be losing all the gems you could get, so there's no benefit to trying this, basically. The one situation in which it could happen is if someone is not aware that they will be on the stream and not paying attention to the live. So that could happen for this reason. But yeah, in this case, you know, we'll have no way to know, so we'll have to not grant you the rewards you could get, basically. Okay, so we have about 10 players to go. It's a short stream today, so this means we're taking questions. Any question that you guys have. We shared quite some information today between the Global Red Boss teasing and Matt Remar's community initiative. If you guys have any question outside of those two topics, of course, we're also taking them in. What I was saying just earlier is that we'll need roughly from now on, from right now, I would say roughly 2 weeks probably before the Unity update is finally there. We hope that it will be resolving all of the issues, especially for the Samsung users. Probably not all of them. But yeah, at least some of them. Some of them. Okay, guys, so any other question, anything else that you would like to ask? It's now or never. So okay, I take that as a no then. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I should be mentioning to you, but I don't see much else. Oh, Madrima, you're asking the estimated time frame for the global red bars to have clan leaderboards. We don't have that yet because it mostly depends on how the beta will go. You know, if the beta would end up being totally broken, for example, then the timeline would be completely different. My guess would be that if everything runs rather smoothly, there will probably be like a month before you see the global red boss again, just for us to fix the small issues that are there and for us to also have it run at the time frame that we want and with the duration we want and work on the balancing, etc. Then after that, we'll probably have it run 3-4 times before we would be able to have the next run of optimizations. I do not know yet the frequency, so having it run 4 times might mean 2 months, might mean 4 months. I don't know. My gut feeling would be for the clan leaderboard, probably would be looking at the summer. That's the gut feeling I would have. And it will depend on how things go with the first iteration. But if everything goes well, then potentially it could be by the summer. And then the second half of the year for us will be focused on the Clan Wars work. Clan Wars work is going to be still a long time. I already mentioned it quite a few times, but the direction we went with what we want to do is quite massive. So if we want to do it this way, if that's the final decision, then it's probably going to take quite some time. But we have some smaller things that would be prepared in parallel and still be released up until the end of the year. So you should still be able to see some new features. For example, and I'm going to say it, I know, Matt, Rima, and everyone else, you want the merchants. I know. Believe me, I'm fighting so that we get the merchant soon enough. It's going to come soon, but it was too much work to have it prepared in parallel to the global red boss. So that's why the merchant is not in the upcoming month. Probably, again, that's something probably you would see by the summer. That's what I would feel. Yeah, I'm precisely, talking about the merchant in literally every meeting we have with the game design and the product team. It's gonna come, it's planned, they want it, it's planned for this year no matter what. My gut feeling though is that it will probably be for the summer or after that, because there are just the other features that are either already prepared or finalized, and we're taking a bit less time. One thing that I want to touch on before we close it for today is that teams are working in parallel on different features, but when you have a big feature like the global red boss, obviously you have less bandwidth on other topics, which means in order not to have other people that are not focused on anything, what you do is that you have your global red boss, which is a big feature, and then you have smaller teams working on smaller things. Once the global red boss is out and released, then we'll have more time for potentially some middle tier features like the merchant, for example, while we'll on the other end have still place for smaller features. Also, one bit to realize is that some features might seem like a lot of work and end up not being that complicated, and some features are fairly simple from the outside but super tricky to develop. So that's why sometimes you might feel like, oh, but developing this might be super easy, and it's not, and vice versa. So yeah, that's why we can't always release stuffs simply based on what would be better for the game, but sometimes it's also about what is the bandwidth we'll have with the team, and what is then the best use of the time that our team has at what given point. And that was it. We just fought the last player for today, so I'm gonna be granting you guys your rewards right away. And that's basically it for today. Do you guys have any final question, any final stuff you want to ask? Otherwise, that will be it. And I will probably leave you actually with one last look at the Red Boss, Global Red Boss teaser. In case some of you were not there, didn't watch it, we can watch it once again in there. Let's go, let's do just that. Again, focus your attention maybe on the duplicate unit, on the name of the boss, on the portrait, because that's what will probably be the most interesting for you for the time being. I don't see any further questions. So folks, that's been a pleasure. It's been a super nice and super great stream. I'm very, very happy to have a stream like this where I can share so much news with you, and finally be sharing stuff like, hey, it's coming next week, because that's the part of my job that is the most exciting. So yeah, thank you again. Thank you, Matrima, for the time you spent on the chat today and for what you're working on for the community. Thank you everyone for watching this stream, whether it is live or in replay. And yeah, thank you again. We'll see each other in 3 weeks, because Matrima will basically take the stage for the next weeks. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day and talk to you soon. Bye.